तो दोस्तों डैफ को लेके एक सेशन है। ऐसा हो सकता है कि आप अभी इंटरव्यू देने जा रहे हैं और इंटरव्यू के पहले अभी यूपीएससी ने एक मौका देगा डैफ को कुछ अमेंड करने का। मेरे साथ में ना वरुण सर हैं। वरुण सर इतने सारे बच्चों को अभी तक गाइड कर चुके हैं और उनको लबासना तक पहुंचा चुके हैं। तो पर्टिकुलरली सर की एक्सपर्टीज ही जो बहुत ज्यादा जो हमें काम आती है। सर पहले सर्विसेज में रह चुके हैं, सर्विसेज छोड़ चुके हैं, उसके बाद अभी बच्चों को पर्टिकुलरली इंटरव्यू के पहले गाइड करते हैं। माइन्यूट माइन्यूट चीजें। इस बार तो सर के साथ मिलकर हमने एक टेलीग्राम ग्रुप भी जो बनाने वाले हैं, चलाने वाले हैं। अभी ऑलरेडी वो फ्लोट कर दिया टेलीग्राम ग्रुप का आइडिया, मैंने शॉर्ट बनाकर डाल दिया। तो जिसमें हम जो हार्डकोर आपको ग्रिल करने वाले हैं आपकी हॉबीज पर। सर आपको हॉबीज पे ग्रिल करेंगे एंड मैं सोशियोलॉजी पर्टिकुलरली, है ना, जो मेरी जो थोड़ी सी एक्सपर्टीज है सोशियोलॉजी में, सर है हॉबीज डैफ के एक्सपर्ट। तो यहाँ पर ना सेशन भी सर डैफ पे ही करने वाले हैं और डैफ के बारे में बताने वाले हैं कि जो छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं हॉबी में क्या लिखें, या हॉबी में अगर कुछ चाहते हैं अमेंड करना कैसे उस पर बिल्ड करें, है ना, ये सब चीजें सर इस सेशन में आपको समझा देंगे। तो सर मैं आपको यहाँ पर जो इनवाइट करता हूँ और पूरा आप बता भी सकते हैं कि डैफ कैसे दिखता है और उसमें जैसे बहुत से बच्चे ऐसे आने वाले टाइम में भी एग्जाम देंगे अगर, लेकिन फिलहाल ये सेशन उनके लिए ज्यादा मीनिंगफुल और फ्रूटफुल रहने वाला है जिनका अभी इमिनेंट इंटरव्यू है। तो सर ये कमान आपके पास।
Thank you so much,
जी।
Shikhar. What has happened in UPSC very interestingly. For the first time ever, in a lot of years, they have actually opened the DAF again for editing, right? So, if you everybody actually who took prelims or took mains this year actually had to fill every damn detail, which was never the case before. Now, in before prelims, remember this year, इतना मुश्किल था पूरा फॉर्म भरना. We got so many queries to fill the form because it felt as if कि दोबारा चांस देंगे ही नहीं वो उसको दोबारा एडिट करने का. But they have given that chance and we are very lucky. So in case you feel that you wrote something which is incomplete, आपने तब hobbies लिख दी कुछ ऐसी जो आपको अब लगता है कि चेंज करनी है, आपने प्राइजेस नहीं ऐड किए, उस टाइम पे आपको ध्यान ही नहीं आया. There are lots of things like that जो आपको अब कंसिडर में आप ला सकते हैं कि आपको कैसे करना है. Then obviously briefly we'll talk about कि आपको कैसे प्रिपेयर करना है, right, and क्या क्या चीजें हम कर सकते हैं. Now the first thing perhaps you will find in the form is yeah. So in the beginning you'll have the top, right? You'll have your roll number, name. You'll have your if your date of birth, etc. I think there's no problem there. You'll have your correspondence and your permanent address. Now you might feel इससे क्या ही फर्क पड़ता है, but इसके ऊपर questions आएंगे. They will talk about your state, the state you are from. A lot of questions will be asked. I would prefer that you very quickly go through like 10-15 articles across the year regarding your state specifically. Let's say you're from Punjab. And let's say if I was taking the interview today, I would talk about Punjab University, Senate being abolished, and central. So center-state relations might be one conversation. If you're from a different state, again, like let's say you're from Tamil Nadu or Andhra, and there are a lot of stampedes that have happened. So again, the state you are from, you have to prepare very, very thoroughly. Think of something like we have to, think of like some 30 possible questions in some ways about the state. Obviously, we can look at previous year's interviews for that. Obviously, we can talk about, state-wise analysis, right, of, your form. Okay, that's the first thing I'll say. After that, obviously, sometimes, very rarely, they do talk about your parents. They do talk about, if he's in services or if he's not. Normally, they avoid such conversations, right? Like last time around, one of our students, when she was talking, they asked me, which cadre are your parents from? Her father, parents were not from, services, but they still asked, just to. So it's a conversation starter. Don't think of it as it's they're really serious about it. It's a conversation starter. They want to see how you respond to it. So remember that. Okay. Then okay, designation, amount of money, like those kind of things, not that relevant. Okay, the most important thing starts from here. Your education qualifications. Whatever you've studied, okay, BTech in mechanical, BSc, MBBS, anything. We have to prepare that. Think of a depth of 50 questions always. Remember, it's not as if कि you might feel कि सर मुझे बहुत टाइम हो गया है पढ़े हुए, इतना तो मैंने पढ़ा ही नहीं है सर, मैं तो इतना अच्छा था ही नहीं इंजीनियरिंग में, या मैं तो कंप्यूटर साइंस भूल चुका हूँ. Totally fine. Theoretically, you might get a lot of questions, but they might not be relevant. But let's say you're from computer science, they will talk about AI with you. If you are, let's say, the impact of jobs, applications of AI, which GPT is better, they will basically ask you those type of questions. okay, which basically check, are you curious about it? Okay, so again, you're not preparing for Amazon, you're not preparing for Google, but you still, right? You're not preparing for a job in, let's say, a hospital, right? But still, if you're a doctor, they expect you should be able to, prescribe a medicine well. Okay, right? If I have a cold, what would you prescribe? What, how would you take my diagnosis? Those kind of questions they will definitely go through. Okay. Now, obviously, in case you have worked, a lot of people, in the previous years have worked. अभी काफी हमारे जो students हैं, the average age of a UPSC successful candidate is now 27 nearly. Okay, right? We were joking with one of my friends who cleared at 21 that you're a dinosaur now. You're extinct. Nobody clears at 21. I hope I'm proven wrong this year and we get lots of people who are young clearing, but still. So a lot of people have work ex, and they have so they normally talk about, okay, why are you shifting? You're earning so well. Those kind of conversation starts. Again, remember, you have to give a very, very positive answer here. It's not about leaving, it's about gaining, it's about servicing, the country now. It's about doing more, having more diversified impact on the country. Like as a computer science graduate who's earning a lot of money, let's say, maybe even crores, okay, or even earning nothing, either way, okay. Now you have been given the opportunity to work for masses on a large scale. Hence, it's very, very important, right? So that is the reason we are taking civil services. I always say that idealism is one of the qualities that people from the panel look at. The more idealistic you are, the higher score you get. Okay, so that is one of the simple giveaways. I say that you want to get a high score, be idealistic in your answers. When I say idealistic, I'll say idealistic in terms of practicality. कि यार अगर मैं तुझे responsibility दूँ officer बनने की, would you do a good job or not? Or would you shirk from responsibility? So you have to take responsibility with humility, with a lot of devotion. That is what is expected. After that, obviously, some payment details are that relevant. Uh, hmm. Okay, sometimes also will happen that maybe you have cleared it before. So they might ask you a few conversations there. If you get the CAPF, you create some other exam, EPFO, a conversation might be there about that department. Let's say you're working already in a department, you're in a revenue department, you're working in the Panchayat board, a BDO, or state services officer. They want to see, are you ready for the next level of responsibility? Okay, let's say I'm a BDO, let's say in the state of Karnataka, and I'm coming and now I'm wanting to maybe become an IAS officer or maybe say a group A officer. Now I'm comfortable taking more responsibility. Okay, that's what they want to look at. When you want to see more responsibility, it is also about accountability. Will I be more accountable? Right? Can I be more accountable? Will I do a good job? Or am I somebody who is not really clear about this? Okay, so the vibe you give, the vibrations you give, the energy you give in the interview counts for a lot. Okay, and that's why we normally tell our students here, please exercise, please go out, just don't keep studying every day. Okay, especially during the interview phase. Okay, so one of the things, right, which I think maybe you can change right now. Just think of all the prizes, medals, and scholarships. Now these have to be state or national level at least, university, state, national level. Don't write anything below that. No need for that. Okay. At the end of the day, there's enough of a conversation. ये ज़्यादा नहीं भी भरा तो भी चलेगा, कम भरा तो भी चलेगा, right? But just think, school में, college में, कभी भी, you have done till state level. State level तो normally लोग कर ही लेते हैं, ठीक है ना? National level, obviously, you're good in some sport like that. That would work. During our period, we have seen students with athletics, chess, hockey, so and so. Right? Scholarships in school, okay? 10th, 12th, maybe that, right? Sports NCC, a lot of people who in government schools do NCCs, Bharat Scouts, etc. So there as well. Sportsmen, if you played from a university for your college, please mention that, okay? Maybe a conversation there. Position of distinction, a lot of people, some people actually have leadership qualities. Some people say that मेरा तो कुछ भी नहीं था college में. So even if, let's say, you were the class representative, anything, it's fine. Okay, right? Do not shirk writing it. Okay, at the end of the day, extracurricular. this is the place they'll judge you on. Okay. So first question comes is, what is a hobby? Okay, at the end of the day, hobby है क्या चीज होती है हॉबी? नाउ हॉबी बेसिकली वो चीज है जिसमें हम टाइम देते हैं, पैसे भी देते हैं और हमें कुछ मिलता नहीं है इसके रिटर्न पे, एटलीस्ट टैंजिबली तो कुछ नहीं मिल रहा. ओके, एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, जैसे अब सपोज कर वो मैं गोल्फ खेलने जा रहा हूँ, तो बहुत ज्यादा पैसे लग रहे हैं, बहुत ज्यादा टाइम लग रहा है, और फिर भी मैं खेल रहा हूँ. ओके, तो उसका कोई खास फायदा नहीं है सपोजली. ठीक है ना, या मैं पेंटिंग करता हूँ तो मैं, राइट, सो इट्स थेरेप्यूटिक इन नेचर टू मी. Okay, and I am deeply passionate about it. So most civil servants who are there, they actually, because across the generation, right, 30-40 years of generations they have served, right, if you think of very multiple generations they have served, they have actually lived a life. Okay, and they've seen the ups and downs of life, and they have realized that, okay, your extracurricular activities, this is perhaps which decides what kind of life you will actually lead. Because like my brother normally talks about this fact that कि यार सुबह if I don't play tennis ना, तो भाई ऑफिस का काम नहीं होता. Okay, because at the end of the day you need something to drive you. Okay, now obviously you'll say that, so big services may you obviously do a lot of things for the people, etc. Yes, you do, but let's say you've been doing it for like 10-15 years, you still need something more कि अच्छा मुझे अपने लिए भी तो inner growth के लिए तो कुछ चाहिए. So there your extracurricular hobbies will come into play. Now here, a lot of times last year, I was seeing, people were copying, pasting hobbies. I would say that don't do that. Okay, what perhaps is required is, ऐसी हॉबी ना लिखना कि जिस पे क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ सकते. ऐसी हॉबी लिखो जहां पे आप प्रूव कर पाओ कि यार दिस इज अ पर्सन आई वुड गिव रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एंड ही विल डू अ गुड जॉब. ओके, हमेशा इस अंडरस्टैंड करना है. ठीक है, राइट, कि गाइडेंस ऑब्वियसली इज गुड, बट आप ऑलवेज थिंक इन टर्म्स ऑफ हॉबीज. क्या जब मैं स्कूल में था मैं क्या करता था? ठीक है ना, मैं बिफोर आई स्टार्टेड प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स, व्हाट गिव मी जॉय? Did I like painting? Did I like public speaking? Was I a person who likes to do a lot of MUNs? Was I a person, I was like the person who likes to just play on the streets with my friends? Uh, did I like to play street cricket, tennis ball cricket, whatever? Doesn't matter. Go back to that person and write that hobby, and we'll prepare that. Don't worry about it. Okay, na? It doesn't matter what hobby you write, it can be prepared and questions can be asked on it. Also, even if the other person doesn't understand the kind of hobby that you perhaps would be asked, still, right, questions can be asked, and maybe we can even frame, when they ask you what is this hobby, right, let's say you make haikus, right, or you write poetry, everything can be prepared. Okay, so it doesn't matter what your hobby is, whether it is meditation, whether it is mandala paintings, whether it is a lot of other things, right. I'm sure you would have a lot of sports, chess, carom, so and so. So it doesn't matter what it is, it should be prepared to a very passionate level. So here is the place where I want to see a lot of passion in the interview room. Okay, if you can do that, you will score very high. Okay, then obviously, right, let's say which home state you want to fill, and then the zones. Okay, if you have any questions on this, obviously we are free to contact us, right. Okay, normally what you do is that whichever place you are from, you start with zone 1 there. Let's say I'm from Tamil Nadu, so I'll start with zone 1 there, right. Okay, right, and if let's say I am looking for some other state, I'll start with there, and then you just fill it right in that direction. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We will try to help you out with this in case you need help at us. Okay, if you have any doubts, how do you do that? We normally think of it like in IAS. Obviously, we think in terms of certain states are way better, right? Because you get more work. So a lot of times people like to go to those states where supposedly they're home, and after that they go to close by states. That's how they like to do. But now that's not possible. So let's say I am from, let's say, Punjab, so I'll put Punjab as 1, and then let's say I want to go to UP second, and then let's say I want to go to Madhya Pradesh third, right, and then perhaps I like to go to West Bengal or let's say Sikkim, and then I like to go to like that way. Okay, a lot of people actually can also think in terms of the fact that यार इस cadre में seats नहीं आती हैं IAS में, तो ये skip हो जाएगा zone. Okay, so let's fill Sikkim as 1, तो then आएगा ही नहीं तो मिलेगा ही नहीं, तो that is the kind of thing also you can consider. Okay, but that's another conversation. Okay, then IPS में commissionerate system वाली states better होती हैं. So Maharashtra normally we look as one of the best states to work in. Anyway, there's a commissionerate system. In IPS, we prefer that. Okay. Obviously, that's one. Obviously, people in Punjab would love to do Punjab police, right? And other places, Telangana police is also known to have a lot of power, so people prefer that. So there's certain states, perhaps, for IPS that preferred. So that's one conversation, perhaps, which we can do offline on this. But this is how you fill, right? Zone one, then it goes like that. कि जोन वन लिया तो जोन वन में आपको महाराष्ट्र मिलेगा अगर आपको फर्स्ट चॉइस मिल रही है. फिर जोन टू जाओगे आप, उसमें आपको उत्तर प्रदेश मिल रहा है, ठीक है ना. फिर लेट्स से जोन थ्री गए, आपको सिक्किम मिल रहा है. जोन फोर गए, आपको हिमाचल मिल रहा है. जोन फाइव गए, आपको केरला मिल रहा है. तो दैट्स इट हाउ इट गो. एंड देन फिर आप वापस आओगे जोन वन पे, एंड देन आपको गुजरात मिलेगा अगर आपको ये पांच वो स्टेट्स के नहीं मिली तो. ओके, राइट. सो दैट इज हाउ इट्स वर्किंग these days. In case you have any questions regarding the services, you can ask. Obviously, these days, the pattern is that IAS is filled at the first or the IPS. Some people actually fill IPS and foreign services as well. Right, let's say you like foreign services. I believe that now in the next 30 years, India's foreign services will become the most powerful service, right? Because we are looking forward to being more aggressive abroad right now, okay? And you'll get a lot of funds and all deployment, and it will be very exciting, okay? But obviously, people normally believe in hindsight, so IAS and IPS becomes more, lucrative, or more, people love it more. Then obviously the revenue, customs and income tax, that's the standard these days. Okay, so you start with the IAS and then go to IPS and foreign services, and then you go to customs and revenue, then audit. Okay, right. Then there's a difference between the executive services and non-executive ones. So executive services are like postal, right, and let's say railways seem to be good, right? Railways. Okay, so there's a time that railways are even better than audit accounts. These are a little chaotic, but railways again has a lot of seats this year, so maybe this can be filled above in case you get a chance to fill that. And a lot of people actually filled the Danics after those, right? Because they're not really clear about the services. Defense estate is very nice. Information service is okay. And the rest, a lot of them are Delhi-based services. Civil accounts, corporate law, information systems. Okay, so you will stay in Delhi all your life. So a lot of people will say, yeah, a government job in Delhi, which is group pay, is a wonderful place to live in. Okay, so supposedly you're from that place. So that's my bit. In case you have any questions on any of these services, would love to take you over on that. Okay. Okay. I think with that, I think we are done. Any questions you have, feel free to ask on the Telegram group. Right, we'll post the link as well for that. And lovely talking to you all today, and it's been a pleasure. Congratulations. It has been a great journey, and I know that everyone would be nervous because never in history of UPSC 11th of November was supposed to be the result. And you might have an early winter interview in Delhi, which will be a very different. I would say haldi wala pani piyo roj, because यार हल्दी वाला पानी पीना पड़ेगा. अब बीमार नहीं हो सकते हो तुम. So fitness level, right, and be ready for the winter of Delhi. Some pollution as well if you're traveling from other parts of the country. Please get your masks, okay. And if you have a late interview, be patient, work on yourself, divide your day in such a way that, okay, 3 hours, let's say, for interview prep, and then the rest for your prelims and mains, okay. Obviously, if you have like already in service, again, the challenge is how do you put time for prelims and mains and as well as interview, in case you have got the chance again to, obviously thinking of writing again as in next year. Okay, provided obviously interview, you hope that you do well, but you still plan for that as well. So again, the conversation is plan your day, right, in a way, try not to fall sick, and keep healthy, and remember, this is for India, and let's hope we make a great country in the next 30 years. Thank you.